Okay. So I was just watching MatPat and Steph, and I watched his Draw My Life, and oh my god, you guys, MatPat has had a like seriously sad life. Like what? Okay, not super sad, but it really inspired me because he was like for 2 years he didn't have a job, and he had thought about he was gonna be in theater and a performer his entire life, like his whole childhood, everything. I mean, and he was completely lost when he figured out he wasn't gonna do that. So it really like helped me. I was like, thank you. Even though he was probably like way younger than I am now when that happened, but late bloomer. So yeah, that inspired me to do my video today because I'm trying to just like say, hey, what's up every day to everybody. Also, I play. Well, I didn't play, but I watched a couple people play That Dragon Cancer a few times, and that game. So that's I really wanted to talk about that because I haven't talked about it, and I really love it. And there are a bunch of reasons why I love it, and a bunch of reasons that it makes me seriously uncomfortable. But yeah. So if you haven't played That Dragon Cancer, it is a video game that is not like a video game. It's basically like what are those called? Like living novels or talking novels? Something novel. It's basically like a story and you just like navigate your way through it. Do you remember those animated storybooks back in the 90s that Disney made? I used to love those freaking things. I had like every single one. Yeah. That was like the reason that I wanted a computer. Like the only reason I was like, I want to play animated storybook. I had a Pocahontas one. I had a Little Mermaid one. I had a Lion King one. I had a Hercules one. I'm getting off track. Sorry. It basically you read this the storybook was read to you, and then you could. It was the story, so it was like a book, but you could click stuff in it, and it was so cool. And like the Hercules one had karaoke. That was so cool. Oh God. Oh, and the Toy Story one, yeah. Okay, this is getting way off tangent. I'm sorry. Okay, focus. So, anyway, it's a game that is basically a story of this couple that has a baby. Yeah, a baby that gets cancer. Or kid that gets cancer. And the whole thing is that it really happened. Like, and it's them making the game. It's them in the game. It's like they just filmed their life and put it in a video game form. And the first time I watched Markiplier play it, I was like, wow, that is really, really morbid. Like, because from what I was getting from it was they basically filmed their child while he was dying, like he was going through cancer and dying, to make a video. They were filming them for a video game, and I'm like, what? That's horrible. But now, after a while of like seeing the creators and like a whole story, I figured out that when they figured out that Joel, the little boy, was gonna die, and that was pretty soon, I guess, after they figured it out, they wanted to document his life so that they would have it forever, so that people would see him, and so people, like, just to conserve him. So, like, they weren't, it's not like they were filming him for that. They just took stuff that they did film because they knew he was going to die, and they put it in a video game form. So that's better. But at first I was like, what? No. But after all that, yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's amazing. I kudos to those parents still making it. like keep going and finish it after he died. I don't know how much. The only thing, like, I'm like, really, is he died. Spoiler alert. Okay, skip this if you don't want to know. He does die, and they show it, and then you go to be in heaven with him, and they film him, and it's him. It is the little kid. It's the little kid for all purposes that as far as I know. It's the kid saying, "Oh, hey, you made it too. I like pancakes. I have a dog now. I always wanted a dog." How did they get him to film that? Obviously, that was just for that. Like, oh, okay, so you're gonna die in video games, so let's. That's still weird to me. But anyway. So, why do I care about that? Why is that big deal? 'Cause I hate kids? No. Kind of. Because boys and girls, I don't know if I talk about it a lot. I don't know how many people know this. I was born a sick child. And not perverted. I was born with a defect. Yeah. I was born with a condition called hydrocephalus, which basically in Latin means, okay. Hydrocephalus means, okay. Hydrocephalus means waterhead. Literally, like, that's what it translates to. And what that means is I was born without some kind of something, whatever, that goes in here that regulates and circulates the fluid, like your spinal fluid or fluid from your head to the rest of your body. And it's called waterhead because otherwise, without this thing called a shunt, a VP shunt, which if you watch Grey's Anatomy, Derek put in a lot of them. And I knew what it was. And I was like, yeah, I could have a McDreamy. Except I don't. So, yeah. So, without that thing in my head fills up with fluid, and I'll die, basically, because my head would get so big that my brain would swell, and I would die. So they put that in. You can't really see it. You can't see it now, but I have a bump right here. I have a really gnarly scar. I don't know if it's a problem. Well, okay. No, okay. Okay, we're not going to show boobs, but... Okay, can you see that? Can you see it? Okay, so this is kind of upside down, but that's my belly button. This is scars, okay. And that's a skirt. And I really hope you don't see boob. But yeah. So, I have tiny arms, I'm sorry. But there was no nipple. Or there was no breasts. Yeah, so that's this really gnarly scar. So when I was 3 days old, they basically went like that. That's why there's one in my stomach. They went like that because my skull was too soft to open. So they went like this and put the tube from here, that runs here, and then down here, and back up here. And it's broken twice. Once I grew out of it, or it was made of glass, I think. Twice it broke from growing, ironically. And both times I had to go into the hospital and I almost died, like, immediately. But I didn't. And the last time that they put it in, they apparently put in, like, tons of extra tube made of pigskin, so that it would grow with me so that I didn't have to do it again. The first couple times I get, the first initial and then the replacement were in the 80s, well, the late 80s, early 90s, I guess. And this is why So it doesn't sound like a big deal, but back when I was born, there were only like a handful of people that survived past like 6 or 7 years. Um, so and it was because they were still, experimenting with it and figuring out what it did, and they were made of glass, and it was really rough. Like they didn't quite understand how to use them yet or make them. So for the first part of my life, I was in the hospital a lot. Uh, and there are pictures of me hooked up to tubes and like living in the hospital, and it's something that I really don't remember, but then I do. Like I specifically remember like throwing up in class and like passing out and then waking up in the hospital. And I was like 6, and then I had to stay there, and then I randomly remember being in a red wagon and making friends with a girl named Scooter who later died. So yeah. And I was in Children's Medical Center. Not Children's, yeah. Children's Medical. Children's? Might be just Children's. It's the major hospital that, I don't know if you know, the conjoined twins, the massive, like, they separated them and they both lived. That's where they were, and that was my neurosurgeon. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So, I really don't remember that time, but playing roundabout way, playing That Dragon Cancer kind of brought it back up, because there's a point in the hospital that the mom is like holding the baby, and then like she's writing something to Joel and saying, "Oh Joel, years from now, you'll be you'll forget all of this ever happened, and you'll be so annoyed. You'll be a healthy, growing 17-year-old boy, and you'll be annoyed that I still kept all of your hospital bracelets and all your stuff, and talk about how cute you were in the hospital and how it was a miracle that you were even spared. And you'll laugh and be whatever, and you'll hate it, and that'll be okay. I will hold the memories of this hard day for the both of us. You just leave it all behind." And that really, really got to me, because that I was the happy ending of that. My mother was advised to abort me before she had me, because they did know that I was going to be. They didn't know what was gonna be wrong, but they knew it was gonna be a definite deficit, and they said I would be mentally retarded, and they gave her the option to abort me. And she said no, and luckily I'm not retarded. Shut up. Anyway, yeah, I think about that, and I was like, "Mom, do you remember that stuff?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I think that's why, that's why I've been babied my whole life. That's why I've been able to get anything I want, because when I told my shrink about that, she was like, "I don't know what I would feel like if I didn't know if my child was going to live day to day. It would just be so scary. You just want to like protect her from everything." So that's why I've been coddled and, wait on my entire life. And I'm realizing that now. But it does happen. You can get out of it, and I felt bad. I felt bad for like surviving. But I'm glad that I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that my mom didn't abort me. And it's really hard to see the other side of that. She never got that good day. And she never got the chance to leave it behind. So, and then on the flip side of that, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I don't know. I'm glad my mom did what she did, but I couldn't. I really couldn't. I can't. I don't. It's because I worry too much anyway. If I had a sick child, I would just be like, no. Mm-mm. Oh, and also they have like suffering of the baby's like crying and like scream crying, and it like it's horrifying. It is. And like I said playing it, I was like, well, why wouldn't you just put like a pillow over its mouth or like kill it? Because I feel like that would be more humane, more merciful. Because had I been born mentally challenged, well, I wouldn't know what was going on. But if I was born with a bigger deficit or something wrong with me, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't be happy. I don't think. And I've always said that if something happens to me that I'm like incapacitated, like ASL runs in my family. ALS, not ASL. Age, sex, location. ALS runs in my family, and my grandma died from it. My dad's mom. And if I ever get it, I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting to be trapped inside my body. I'm killing myself or assisted suicide or something like that. Because I don't want to be incapacitated. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be hindered. I don't want it. Don't want it. And I don't think that kids want it. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just kill it? Because there are times that, yeah, it sucks. It's sad. But you do get through it. Case in point. And then you grow up to be a shitty person. But, so, that really helped me with that kind of empathy. Yeah. Can't believe I just talked about 20 minutes for this. It was basically nothing. But I just wanted to share that because I really wanted to talk about it. Because I think it's a really good game and I think it's a really good story. And if you haven't played it, you should play it or watch other people play it so you don't have to buy it. That's what I did. And plus, I like watching people play it instead of playing it. It's sad. Markiplier is the one I watched. Yeah. Oh. So, and the other thing is like they made their own company. I don't know if they made it for that, but they made a video game company, or they have one because of it. And it's a Christian-based video game company. Yeah, I can't think of the name, but I'll put a link in the description after this. But it's a whole video game based in Christianity. And I really think that's cool because, faith is important. And throughout this entire game and entire life of Joel, the mom had complete faith and had complete blind hope that Joel was going to live, and the dad did not. The dad was very technical and logical and needed science. And ultimately the dad was right. But ultimately, I think God, knew what he was doing, and he took Joel, and Joel was happier. But, yeah, towards the end of the game, towards the end of the game, there's a time, it's supposed to be like the funeral, I guess, or a candlelight vigil, and they're like, their entire church is just like yelling and screaming for them to save their little boy, and that part, I'm like, at that point that your son is, can't even swallow water because his tumor has prevented him from... That's why it made me think of it too. Because he had a brain tumor, and so when it got really bad, he was constantly vomiting. Which is what I had when my thing broke. Okay, cool. I couldn't remember why I wanted to talk about that. Anyway, yes. If your child is suffering in such a way that they can't even take in anything, you gotta let it go. You have to. You can't make them suffer. You can't pray to God to keep them in this state. I mean, you can. Obviously, they did, but no, please, do not condone that. Just don't. I don't. But then it's like, I don't know. I don't know how... No, I do know how I would feel, because I was there, kind of. I have battles with myself. I know it. Try not to. But yeah. I just felt really bad about that part. And I don't think you should. I don't think you should ask God to keep your kid suffering. Just don't. But I mean, it's hard to let go. It's hard to understand that that's what's meant to happen. And I know that I am one of the lucky ones, and I know that I am not the norm and not... and now, well, okay, see, now VP shunts are like, whatever. Like, it's not even a thing now. So, but back then, they didn't know. They could have died the next day. So, I'm happy that I'm here most of the time. And I hope my family is too. So, have you guys played it? Did you like it? Have you gone through something similar? Did it offend you? Was there too much Christianity in it? Because I thought it was a little heavy with the Christianity, but that's only because I was watching like Mark play it, and Mark's not really religious, so watching somebody who's not really religious play it is like, because they're like kind of awkwardly commenting on it. In general, I liked both sides. I liked how they showed the dad being in logical despair and the mom, basically thinking that he's gonna be okay. Although that did get annoying. Like, really, stop. Like, you can't... Jesus isn't a genie. You can't just, like, expect him to be okay. Just because you ask him to make him okay. It doesn't happen. I should know. Yeah. But it is a Christian-based video game, so it's a Christian-based video game company. So you knew what you were getting into, Felice. You knew it. I knew it. You knew it. Everybody knew it. So if you don't believe in that, you could pass on it. But it's really not that. It's not heavy Christian, except towards the end. Okay, towards the end, if you do want to watch somebody play it, not without that, GT Live played it until like it started getting heavy into the Christianity thing. So, yeah. Any questions, comments, concerns? No? Yeah? Cool. Okay. What else should I talk about later? Good comments. Okay. Speaking of, it turned off. I was watching GT Live. Okay. Anyway,